Let's get started. I'll call the meeting to order at 4:36. 24 Glen Avenue is the first item on the agenda. So we have the parking plan. We have to review. Does everybody have the Department of Transportation letter?
Mm-hmm.
So it makes no mention of the exit onto Glen from the Tellers area. So I assume they have no problem with that.
I mean, Terry sent the package to them. I don't know what she gave them for instructions or anything, but that's what came back this afternoon is what their response is.
Mhm.
So, John, I don't know, did you not, I didn't send it to you. I'm not sure whether you had contact with the DOT.
No, I hadn't received that. This is the first time I'm hearing of it.
Okay, if you want, I can put it up on the screen so everybody can look at it.
That would be easier than looking at it on my phone.
Okay, hold on one second.
John, what's your email address? I can send you a copy of it now.
It's McManus@gmail. McManus. Dan, are there only 3 bullet points on that?
No, I think yeah.
No, I'll continue. I just wanted to make sure everybody had a chance to read.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. That's pretty standard stuff. I don't know as if okay. I don't know as if it affects the design at all. This is highway work permit stuff. I'm just looking at what we have within the right of way. Everything's going to be done ADA compliant anyways. The same ADA compliant turn downs that you have on the sidewalks on Main Street, those are be the same ones that we're going to have here. So we're going to meet all those requirements anyways. And then all they're asking for is when this highway work permit goes in, they may want a drainage study at the entrance there to make sure that we're not dumping water out onto their road needlessly or in the wrong direction. So I'm okay with all these.
Send that off to you by email.
Richard, what was that?
Are we open for comments now that John's finished?
Sure.
I think the point that I saw was new was the sidewalk across the entire frontage of the project. First, I thought that was sort of nonsensical because there's no sidewalk on that side of the entire street in that block anyway. But having thought that, walkability as a factor, if people in the village are walking up Maple Street or walk up Grove for that matter and walk toward Fly Creek on the far side of Glen and then wish to cross to the credit union to do some business there. There's no crosswalk there at the moment, but if the village wanted to put a crosswalk in across Glen where the Maple Street intersection is, it would need to connect to a sidewalk on the north side of Glen. You know what I mean? So I do think having the sidewalk run across the project is a good idea. At which, so that such a crosswalk of Glen Avenue would make sense. In other words, we could be tied in. I'm not proposing that now. I don't think the bank needs to put it in, but in the future sometime that would make sense. I do a lot of walking around there. I walk Maple and I cross that intersection and then walk through the red parking lot. And you have to cross grass and jump curbs and so forth. There's no sidewalk because there's no sidewalk on the north side of Glen. So I think that request by the DOT makes some sense, and that should be incorporated into the site plan.
So when people use that parking lot that's behind, I mean, the trolley lot, do they exit on foot onto Main? Is that how most people, I've never actually parked there, so.
That's where the bus stop is over on Main, on
Okay.
the other side, where the trolley bus is. So that goes out that side.
Got it.
Jane, could you put up the drawing for the parking lot?
Yep, hold on one second. I was trying to see whether it was better to look at it from the minutes where you could see side by side or the back and forth.
Well, I'll let you decide.
Thank you, Gene.
You're welcome.
So there's proposed
Okay.
and there's existing.
So they're saying, so if you go back to the proposed, oh, I see what you're doing. So they're saying, where's the right of way? They're saying to continue the pink sidewalk all the way across
Through that green space.
through the green space. Is
Yeah,
that,
at least-
that's the way I interpret it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I see what that is. Yeah, no, that's something I would definitely respond to them. I don't want to dump people back out onto the road. That's not the intent.
Right.
Especially in that intersection location. The intent of the sidewalk here, and if you go back to the aerial, you can see you see the crosswalk does it jogs back to the corner of the existing overhang. We're just continuing that existing sidewalk in the front there, just
Right.
across instead of jogging.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make any sense to bring it across to the entrance road.
Yeah, I think they're
I mean-
trying. It's the bridge to nowhere.
Yeah.
Well, my point is though that if somebody is coming up Maple Street and you see the corner of where Maple is and wants to cross to get to the credit union, where do they
Then-
walk across the lawn there on the other side?
No, they walk down in front of the Thanksgiving home and then cross.
Yeah.
There's a sidewalk there.
That's not a practical solution to people You know,
Sure it
people
is.
aren't gonna walk 2 blocks to get across the street.
It's not 2 blocks. It's like a half a
So
block.
it's 1 block from Maple down to Grove.
then there's no-
across Grove, and then there's no sidewalk on the other side.
I'm
You
looking
walk
at
up the other side.
Richard, I'm looking at a sidewalk at the bottom of the screen of the photo from
Yeah.
Maple.
You walk down the Grove, you cross to the other side, to the north side of Glen Avenue. There's no sidewalk running up that side of Glen to the bank. There's no sidewalk there. They're walking in the street. The sidewalk, the only sidewalk is on the south
Yeah,
side of
there's-
Glen.
There's no sidewalk here.
Yeah,
Right.
there's no, yeah, exactly.
Are you pointing somewhere, Jane?
Yeah, the
See where
red.
the red lines I just put in on the
Oh,
drawing?
no, Richard is in front of them. Sorry.
Oh,
And it's through no fault of his own. So,
everybody else has just, I only am seeing people on the side of the picture, so I didn't realize.
yeah, no, it's behind my picture. So it's probably my
Okay,
set.
hold on.
Don't worry
hold
about
on,
that.
let me-
I can see a little bit of a red line.
Oh, there we go.
So,
Is that
so
better?
that
Two
so
red
perhaps
lines there.
where that car is turning in is perhaps that is one area where I don't know.
You
Right.
you know what? We're getting hung up on a
Yeah.
very important issue here. DOT is commenting on this, assuming that that is a municipal sidewalk, but it's not. It's a private sidewalk that was put in for the credit union. So we're not talking about connecting a municipal sidewalk to a municipal sidewalk. So the response to DOT on that is it's not applicable in this matter because, again, we're not creating a master plan here where we're going to take the credit union sidewalk and then create the village sidewalk coming off of it. So the DOT, I think, is looking at this a little bit differently and creating this conversation for us.
Okay, John, can you explain where the state right of way, the DOT right of way enters into that? I mean, like how deep into the property it goes?
I believe at this location, it's 33 feet from the center line. I was out there measuring a couple
Okay.
weeks ago. So
And-
it's 33 feet from the center line. So I think probably the edge of the existing leather stocking sidewalk would be on it, if not in it a bit.
Okay.
But other than that, I really think DOT is looking at this aerial photo and someone's assuming that this is a municipal sidewalk that we are connecting to, and it's not.
Got it. Okay.
So you're thinking right of way is about there?
All DOT is really saying is everything within the right of way has to meet ADA, all the ADA compliant. Yes, and Jane, to answer your question, correct. 33 feet, it's hard to scale on this, but if you look at, there's a 27-foot dimension at the entrance of travel lane.
Mm-hmm.
If you take that and kind of transfer that over onto the screen, that 33 feet would be probably just shy of that line that you drew on there, Jane.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's add another, 6 feet to that, and then place it on the center line is what you're looking at.
Yeah.
Okay.
And keep in mind, this is based on GIS mapping too. No, I take that back. The street is based on GIS mapping. The rest
Isn't
of
that pink dotted line, the boundary of the property? Or not pink dot, but isn't that the
yes, that's the property
purple
line.
line? That's the property line, right?
Okay.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
so DOT is saying you can't park on their property? Those slots
No,
not,
what they're saying is, even though the credit union has always used those spaces, all they're saying is because we're going in and doing these improvements that, and I'm just trying to pull this back up again, that see, what they're saying is we have to apply for a highway work permit. So I have to apply to them to work within the right of way. When we apply to them, there's a number of things that I have to provide to them before the contractor even gets involved. One of which they're saying might be a drainage study. So they may want me to look at the grades at the entrance. A lot of the times they want to have positive drainage, and they want to make sure that I'm doing that. Because at the end of this, I have to provide them with detailed drawings on the radius of the entrance, or the exit in this case, rather. And all they're saying is all pedestrian facilities within the public right-of-way must be built to conform to American with Disabilities Act accessibility guidelines,
Okay.
ADA-AG. So what they're saying is just notifying us that all that work does have to comply with those specifications, which it will.
Right. Okay.
Same specifications as the village uses. And I don't have a problem making the DOT letter a condition of our approval when applying for the work permit.
So back on the point of the sidewalk, is the planning board not going to then require installation of the sidewalk across the property?
Well, there is a sidewalk there. You're saying to the actual entrance into the blue lot, or whatever color this is, red
And,
lot.
and to the property next door to the east,
Ah, so go back down.
in case sometime we
Where the-
want to put a sidewalk up the north side of Glen from Grove to that point.
You mean where the car is turning in?
Yeah,
Yeah, because that's the driveway to the back, the employee parking area. Is that right?
that's
Where that car turning in is, it looks like it's the
that's a
driveway
parking
to.
spot. That's an angled in parking spot.
Yeah, that's a jiggered thing.
But what's the? It looks like it's the employee parking, but that's just me. Back
Yes, that's just private parking down there. Yep.
Okay.
Employee, the most employees actually park in the back lot.
Right. Okay.
Again, we're talking about a private sidewalk here. Just because it's near the road doesn't mean it's a municipal sidewalk. So future planning to connect to a private sidewalk on private property is a little different. I think the perception from DOT is this is a municipal sidewalk, and it's not.
So to make it a municipal sidewalk, we'd have to remove those 4 parking spaces on Glen Avenue and put it through where the car is parked, right?
There's only 3
Is that it?
spaces there.
What's that?
If that's an entryway, there's only 3 spaces there.
That's not the conversation here. The conversation here is whether or not that's a valid comment by DOT or not.
Right.
And if it isn't, then then we don't talk about removing their sidewalk and relocating it into the right of way, because that's not what DOT is asking here. They're not asking us to relocate pedestrian facilities within the right of way and remove parking facilities. All they're asking is for us to get a permit when we get our highway work permit to show that those parking spots are within the right of way. That's all they're saying. They're not saying redesign the site so that it accommodates municipal pedestrian traffic to dump at the end of travel lane.
Mhm.
That's not the intent of this letter.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. All I'm saying is 30 years from now, somebody wants to look in the records of this meeting. Is the planning board going to say, we don't want a public sidewalk in that location? Or do we want a public sidewalk in that location? And if we don't want a public sidewalk in that location, what is our reason? You know, I mean, people wonder, why did village boards do this and that long ago? Because now it doesn't look smart, but whatever. I think we should have just, you know, whatever the planning board wants to do, I'm fine with it. It's a private sidewalk, it's not a private sidewalk. But when we were looking at the Dunkin' Donuts, we were telling they got to put a sidewalk all the way down the street from one block to the next block, and there's no sidewalk there. And we were saying, you got to do it. Here's another project going in, and we're not saying anything about public sidewalks. and then we have the walkability plan of the village and all of this, and we're saying it doesn't apply to this location. Is that what we're saying?
I know,
Fine
Richard,
or not fine, but we need to address that issue, I think.
Richard, I understand what you're saying, but this is not a new project. This is an existing building, an existing business that does have a sidewalk. It is not a municipal sidewalk. It is a privately owned sidewalk, but there is
But
pedestrian.
every time you make a change, we have leverage from the village to enforce planning. Otherwise, we don't. This is the one time in the next 30 years, we'll have the opportunity to tell Leatherstocking, do this. If you want to make this change, you got to do this or not. If not, fine. I'm just saying, you know, when we talked to CVS and we said we wanted like a sidewalk to connect CVS to Price Chopper. Well, in the future, if there is, CVS has got to put that sidewalk in. If when we get Price Chopper where we want them and say, you got to make the connection. In other words, you're thinking ahead. You're putting things in place to make the village better, because piecemeal never works. That's all I'm saying, or it won't work. So this may be totally fine. Nobody's going to be walking up the hill on the other side of the road into the red lot. Maybe there's no need to ever have a parking lot, a sidewalk in this location. But I think we should basically go on record and address this issue one way or the other. That's my point.
Richard, are you talking about a different sidewalk than the private one?
Yes.
That would be.
I don't care if they want to incorporate the private one to a public sidewalk. That makes, because there's a private sidewalk across Price Chopper. They go through there and out the other side. We told them they got to put the sidewalks in there. So it doesn't make any difference. It's a site plan. We can tell them what they need to do or not. I mean,
I feel that there is a sidewalk here. If there is any future sidewalk, it would be on the property to the east of this.
Right.
Because there is an existing sidewalk here, and we don't want to send people on a state road walking up the hill toward the dump. So I don't think that this sidewalk needs to be extended any further to the west. And to the east, it's a driveway. So if there's any sidewalk installed, it would be on the lot to the east.
exactly.
So there, we've addressed it.
Well, wait, when the person on the east wants to redevelop the property, or we have the folks down and work, the team, we had Job Corps people say, we want to put sidewalks in the village. What if we want to put a sidewalk up from Grove Street up to the Leatherstocking on the
Then God bless them. Let them do it, but that's not this property.
Well, they got to connect it up to this.
And there's a sidewalk there they can connect to. I mean, I feel like it's
No, it
moving.
ends where the pink is.
There's a driveway there.
It doesn't go to the line, the property line.
There's a driveway there.
Yeah.
Well, it's not.
That's a driveway. That is not a parking space. That is a driveway.
They are going to make, in the new thing, that will become a parking space in the new drawings.
We're not changing any of the parking in the front.
Nope.
We're not. There's only
Taking one
three.
of them out.
Those three parking
Then-
spaces, 8, 9, and 10 are existing spaces with their remaining in place and unchanged.
There
Okay,
is no parking space 11, right, John?
That's correct. It's the end of the driveway. You see a
Right.
car in the picture, just kind of kitty corner in there. People park there from time to time. I've done it myself.
But it's not legal. No offense,
No.
John.
It's not legal.
It mentioned in the discussion, an angle-in parking spot. Is that the angle-in parking spot?
No,
there's no-
what you see is what you get. That's all we're doing. We're just creating an entrance where the pointer is right now. We're just putting an entrance there. It's only difference. Again, we're not talking about a municipal sidewalk here. We're talking about a private sidewalk.
No, Richard,
Yeah.
with that car parked angle that's a car that's illegally parked in a driveway.
Okay. for forever and ever, because this picture is going to be forever documented. Let's see.
I have a question.
Maybe
Is it if they decide to develop the property next door, or if the village decides that it wants to have a sidewalk there along Glen Avenue that extends east from this property in question, is it common for a public sidewalk to connect to a private sidewalk and all of it become a public pedestrian way?
No, it's very uncommon.
Right, okay. So then it wouldn't be really legal for them to connect any public sidewalk that approaches from the east to the private sidewalk in front of this property, right?
What do you mean legal?
Well, because that's a public sidewalk, and so Leatherstock and Credit Union wouldn't necessarily want that to become a public sidewalk, would it? Connected to a municipal sidewalk?
That's my point. This whole conversation is based off of a comment made by someone that reviewed this paperwork in a bubble and assumed that this was a public sidewalk.
Okay, yes, okay. So I have to say that I see Richard's point. And what would have to be done if we did stipulate at this particular point in time that we wanted there to be a sidewalk, a public sidewalk, in front of this building? Would the private sidewalk be turned into grass that would go over to the public sidewalk?
If we had to continue those red lines over, we would lose those 3 spaces in front.
That's correct, but they're not legal parking spaces anyway.
That's not true.
Actually, those,
No, DOT is just saying that it's off-street parking. We just need to get a permit during our work permit from them.
yeah.
Those are existing parking spaces. The Leatherstocking Region Federal Credit Union is not willing to give up 3 more spaces when the whole point of this is to try to gain as many spaces as possible in a poor situation. So we're not going to give up those spaces. In order to do that, we would then have to apply for a zoning variance, Jane, I believe, because we're reducing number of parking spaces. So, this whole conversation, again, connecting a municipal sidewalk to a private sidewalk just because someone assumed that it was, is, in my opinion, it's irrelevant.
Well, but I don't think it's irrelevant if you think of it in the terms that Richard is. Future planning.
As far as this application is concerned, I think it's an irrelevant conversation, that's all. Because I can't lose any more parking spaces on this site. We're having enough trouble as it is. As you can see, I can see 2 illegally parked cars on this plan right now.
Yep.
Mhm.
So,
Well,
did you guys get comments from the county?
Yes, do you want me to put them up?
Oh, you got those as well?
Yep.
I didn't mean to move on. I was just curious. I thought, Jane, in your last email, you said you hadn't gotten them.
No, I said I hadn't gotten DOT.
Oh, okay.
Hold on one second. Can you see? I can't tell whether when I switch from one PDF to another,
Not
it
yet.
changes.
Not
Okay,
yet.
hold on.
Still the map.
It's still the map. Hold on then.
Okay. Now,
Thank you.
Let me know when you want me to flip to the second page.
I'd flip.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty obvious, yeah. Are there any comments attached?
Her concern, it looks number 2 there. Just to point out, it looks like she's concerned about the vehicles backing into the towards the road. I think that's what Karen means.
No, it's going into the driveway into the red lot.
Right, proposed parking plan, right?
That it would back into the travel lane.
Right. I think she's just saying to be aware of that.
And it's a local impact, not a community-wide. Yeah.
That was a concern of mine when we laid this out. So I tried to get it off the road as far as possible.
Well, don't they do that on Main Street all the time?
Yep.
You know,
Well, what's the big deal? Yeah.
It's just that drivers coming in be aware of that there are cars that might be backing out. That's,
and they're not backing right out into the road. They've got some room behind them before they back out.
yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
That's it.
Okay. Ow, okay.
Jane, would you put the drawing back up?
Sure thing.
Great. Is this view cutting off any part of the drawing at the top?
It depends on the view.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how many more parking spaces are you getting with this proposal?
1, maybe.
That's what I thought. I was trying to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really.
No, actually, like, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
6, 7, 8, maybe 2.
2. I think you're getting 2.
You know what we're eliminating? We're eliminating the car parking where that one is, that black car
Yeah.
closest to the road. We're eliminating that situation because we're creating a clean curb cut there. We're
Good.
not necessarily eliminating that kitty corner parked car. And then we're probably all practicality, adding about one more space to the site. By the time people jockey into their positions, whether they're striped or not, we do have one handicap spot down at the bottom there. So that's taken up a little bit more space with this. So,
Slot 8 is handicapped, no?
It's marked handicap, but it doesn't have the extra wide,
yeah,
entry
Man,
for the wheelchair
that's
entry.
man accessible, but
that's not the legal handicap spot. That's marked for convenience. Number 1 is the legal handicap spot.
Mhm. So what is our next step? Are we finished discussing this, or what do we?
Will there be a do not enter sign from Glen into the overhang?
That would make sense, right, Jane?
I didn't catch everything Jean said.
A do not enter sign coming into from Glen Avenue into the new drive-through area.
Right, there'd be a no entry
Yeah,
of
DOT
some sort, yes.
DOT's they're gonna require me to put something there. So I have to
But-
put something.
Yeah, but they said no signage on
yeah,
in
they
there.
put no signage on their property, right?
I know.
They mean none of your signage on their property.
So no leather stocking credit union sign. Okay,
Right. Yeah.
got it.
And currently there's a entrance only, I believe, on the travel lane going into the red lot.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure where exactly it is.
All right.
does anybody have any more questions about the parking plan?
Nope.
Okay. Jane, would you put up the SECA part 2?
Sure. Can everybody see it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Looking from 1 to 11, does anybody see anything that they think would be moderate to large impact?
Nope.
John?
No.
No. Richard?
No.
Okay, I don't either. So then I can mark all of these no or small impact may occur.
Yep.
Okay. Then go to the next page. Down to where the check boxes are. I move that we find, based on the information and analysis in any supporting documents, that the proposed action will not result in any significant adverse environmental impact.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, carries. If you could check that on the form. And if you could email that to me, I'll sign it, scan it, and send it back to you.
Okay.
You have to do it again, Jane.
Yep.
Well, we'll get to it.
Yep. No problem.
Just
Thank you.
okay. Jane, am I correct that since this is a parking plan and not a site plan, that no public hearing is required?
Correct, unless you wanted to have one.
Does anybody want to have a public hearing?
I don't think we need one.
No. Okay. Since I made the last motion, does anybody want to make a motion to approve the parking plan?
I
So
make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Any abstentions? Motion carried.
John, did you have something to say? You were raising your finger.
Oh, no, I was scratching my ear.
No, the other John.
Oh, the other John.
Oh, no, I was scratching also.
Sorry, guys. Didn't mean to call you out.
The
Thank you
scratching
for
of the
your time,
tongues.
everyone.
Okay.
I appreciate everyone's time.
All right, thanks, John.
Great seeing you, John.
Everyone have a good night.
You
too.
too.
Hold on. All right, I will put Dan on. Hi, Dan.
Hello,
All right, then, I'm Gene Berman. Nice meeting you.
and you? Thank you.
This is item 2 on the agenda, pre-application to divide a parcel. Jane, could you put up the drawing?
Yep, I'm just trying to find it right now.
Okay.
So Dan, are you here on Elm Street right now?
I am, yes.
Okay, I'm your neighbor down the street.
All right, very good.
So do you want that rocker that's sitting on your front porch, or I never see you sitting in it?
Yeah, I don't know. I keep meaning to put a free sign on it, but
I don't need it, but I just thought it was funny. It's a great
Yeah.
place for it.
I'm having trouble finding it. There it is.
That's good.
Oops, hold on. This. There we go.
Okay. So it's marked lot 1 and lot 2 is now a single lot? Is that correct?
Yes, it
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
And the new dividing line will be the dashed line.
Hmm. Okay.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions?
I just have a concern about the hitching post. That's a historic element in the village. I think it's listed on the national in the historic district. Is that on this property or is it on Amy Stack's property? It's
I
that,
thought the hitching post was up on the corner one.
there's another one. Got to walk around just Pioneer Street a little more, Jane. It's down by Amy's little walkway. So it looks, there's a little, near where the iron pipe point
Okay, hold on. Let me
is.
zoom in to see if they documented it.
It's there, yeah. It's that little, it says iron pipe, but it's over there.
So unless
Maybe it's underneath the property line. There's GP and then I don't know what the thing is underneath there. I just can't tell whose it is. I just want to make sure it stays. Being the historian.
Well, I know that Dan is not planning on, once he subdivides it, it's going to be up to the new owner as far as the, putting a building on it and stuff like
Okay.
that.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody's going to turn that into a driveway, that could be a problem.
There's an existing driveway now.
Right, but
That's dashed in.
I just can't tell whose property it is. The way the line is,
Yeah.
the way the line is drawn, I think it goes right through it. So Dan, you're not building on it. I just assumed you would be building building the house yourself and then selling. But
So initially, I would offer the parcel up for sale. I can back that up with a offer to do a build service as well.
okay.
If I don't get any takers, then I'll revisit it and look to develop it myself.
Okay. And then I have concerns about the mature maples and pines. Would that be impacted by any division? I don't think it would.
Not, but the division is just.
Just a division? Okay.
That's all that's before us. And
Okay.
any building on lot 2, that would be exempt from site plan review.
Correct.
So
But they couldn't demolish the historic elements or whatever. So yeah. Okay.
and for seeker, as we've done previously, I don't view this as segmented since we have no requirements in our zoning law to review the private dwelling on lot 2, and I believe it's a type 2 action under seeker.
Mm-hmm. Okay. No, I agree. It's not a segmented review at this point.
Mhm.
Okay. Dan, how can you, just for comparison purposes, what's the square footage of the house that you're currently working on? Just so I can.
I believe it's around about 2,500
Okay. Okay.
on 2 stories.
Yeah, no, I was just trying to take that footprint and put it on this lot to sort of get a sense, but okay. That was just a point of information, has no bearing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Does anybody have any other questions? Well, part of this preliminary review, within 45 days, and we might as well do it now, we have to come with the finding of whether or not the subdivision, let's see, from the statutory language. Meets the objectives of the chapter being the subdivision chapter. And I feel that it does. Does anybody have any other feelings?
Yeah.
It does.
Yep, I agree.
Okay. I move that the planning board find that the plans submitted meet the objectives of the chapter.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. We'll have to do a seeker on this. Jane, could you make arrangements?
Yep.
Okay, and I guess we'll do that at our next meeting.
It'll also have to have a public hearing, right? I believe subdivisions are public hearing requirements.
I believe so. So
So,
we could combine them, and if you could put out the notice.
okay.
Hey, Jean, can I ask you a question? When you said that the objectives of the chapter were met, you clarified what chapter it was. What's it a chapter of?
It's
Chapter 245, subdivision of land.
Oh, thank you.
Apparently, we still don't have a good subdivision law for the village, correct?
We do not have a subdivision law that what most municipalities call minor subdivision, as opposed to just general subdivision.
Mm-hmm.
So there are definitely municipalities around the state that have, basically 2 sections in their code that deal with, something like this, and then just a major subdivision, which is more like what ours is.
This is the third subdivision we've done, and, not have a law to, appropriate law.
Jane,
Yep.
if you could find some sections that we might just add to our law to make that change, we can look at it and recommend it to the trustees.
Okay. I'll go through, copy them, and then get them off to you guys sometime in the next couple of weeks.
Okay,
So you can review them for next month.
all right, thank you.
Sure.
So,
Are we going to get I saw you sent out the revised zoning law with all the changes in it.
Yep.
Are we going to get any hard copy of that so we don't have to?
I mean, I can print that, like I said, until E-code actually codifies everything and incorporates it in. We don't really have a way to create a legal version of it. This was my attempt that I sent out. Like I said, I can print it out, and I can print it out all dark and eliminate the stuff that's crossed out. It's just me doing it, though. It's not really official.
Do you have any idea when the E-code will get their work done?
No, because I'm not the one who supplies everything to them. Terry does, so.
Because the last time it took 4 or 5 years.
Yep.
Well, when I came on the board, I think in 2010 or 11, it was took 4 or 5 years, and we had a preliminary, not codified zoning law with changes all over it. And we had to live with that for 4 or 5 years.
Well, I'll try to find out in the next couple weeks or whatever what's happening with the code. Because I know there's several sections that need to be updated along with this last major one, so.
okay. So I think we're finished with this agenda item.
Yep. So it's been approved. So we set the public hearing for the next meeting. Is that it?
Yes,
Okay.
So I'll get some information to you, Dan, to fill out as far as the environmental impact questionnaire and stuff. And then
Okay.
you can get that, you'll fill that out and get it back to me, and then we'll go from there.
yeah, and if, I really like that to be on file before you send out public notice.
Okay, I'll
Somebody who
send that
wants-
out today or tomorrow morning. So it's just a questionnaire that you need to fill out, so it shouldn't
Sure.
take that long.
Yeah, I'll get that returned to you.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay. So we're up to minutes review. Has everyone had a chance to look at the minutes?
Yeah.
Does anybody have any comments?
No.
Hmm.
Well done again, Michael.
Oh, thank you, Ellen.
I move approval of minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Abstentions? The motion carries. Any other business to discuss?
Nope.
It's been nice seeing you all.
Yep. See you around town at a distance.
I move to adjourn.
Okay.
All right. See you next month.
Okay.
Bye.
Alrighty.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Michael, quick question.
Yeah, well, hold on a second. No, I can't do that because I don't think he gave me. All right. I don't think he gave me the ability to turn off the YouTube. Okay. Did you see? Can you see it now? It says live on YouTube, Jane. Yeah,
Yep.
I'm not sure it was recording to YouTube the whole time. I'm going to ask him about that.
Yeah, like I said, it doesn't show up on the.
See, I think,
Oh, okay. See, now you can actually see the recording.
yeah, I think the same thing might have happened again where he was recording locally, which is why it says recording, and
Yep.
then he got it onto YouTube. But I'm going to ask him when we get a chance.
Okay, I have one question, but you could stop you can't stop the recording?
I cannot. I cannot. I can ask Kyle, but I don't know if he can.
I'll call you or just text you or email you.
Okay. All right.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Mhm.